now my honor to introduce Bruce Embrey, co-chair of the Manzanar Committee.
Welcome to Manzanar. How many of you are here for the first time? Oh, wow, that's a lot of people. We estimate there's going to be at least 2,000 people here today. But before I give my talk, we want to make a special recognition.
At this time, we would like to recognize anyone who was born at Manzanar or any other concentration camp. Please raise your hand or stand up if you are able to be recognized. We have a couple of little gifts for you guys today. Now we would like to recognize any other survivors of any other camps. Please raise your hand and stand up to be recognized. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
If you're feeling unnerved or worried about the state of our country, take a look around. Be inspired by those people. They survived camp. We can survive 4 years of this stuff. Our pilgrimage and the Manzanar National Historic Site are more important today than ever. As we gather here in front of the Ireto, one of our community's most iconic monuments, efforts to erase our history are underway. The heroism of the 442nd, the 100th Battalion, and the Military Intelligence Service are being removed from government websites. And it's not just the valor of the Nisei soldiers that has been under attack. Jackie Robinson, Lieutenant Jackie Robinson, speaking of the Dodgers, and code talkers from the Navajo and Cheyenne nations, and the all other people of color who fought valiantly against the war against fascism and for democracy are in jeopardy. Recently, the stone wall in historic site had its entire narrative rewritten to erase the contributions of trans people. Stonewall is the birthplace of the modern LGBTQ rights movement. It is a historic site for many reasons, but recently, one of the most vital components of the LGBTQ community has been erased. Manzanar also is a historic site. Do not let Stonewall become a precedent. This isn't just insulting, this is dangerous. It's dangerous because narratives matter. Remember, our government, not long ago, pushed by white nationalists and large corporations, fabricated an entire narrative that our families were a threat to America's national security. It was a lie. But that lie, that false narrative, led to the unconstitutional, illegal incarceration of more than 125,000 people of Japanese ancestry, citizen and immigrant alike. The founders of our committee, including my mother, Sue Kunitomi Embrey, they knew our story was too important to be left to a couple paragraphs in some history book. Our elders knew our story is a cautionary tale, one that exposes the flaws in our democracy, and it exposes how dangerous it is to us all when xenophobes and white nationalists are allowed to toss aside our constitutional rights. We fought and we won an apology for the injustices that our community endured, but we know that it's not sufficient to just apologize to our community. Our story is not some isolated aberration in American history. The founders of our committee knew America's concentration camps were only possible because of our history, a history that's rooted in colonialism, that has many stories, many trails of tears, many stories of chattel slavery and of Jim Crow. Today, our story, unfortunately, is completely intertwined with the events unfolding today. The Trump administration has used the very law that incarcerated our families, the Alien Enemies Act, to detain legal residents like Mr. Abrego Garcia and send people to an infamous prison in El Salvador. Just as dangerous is the resurrection of the McCarran-Walter Act, the 1952 Immigration and Nationalities Act, a repressive law written by some of the same people who crafted Executive Order 9066. This law is being used to detain Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian graduate student who did nothing but speak out against the war in Gaza. Rumeysa Ozturk, a Tufts University scholar, also is incarcerated for simply speaking out. We cannot allow the free speech of college students to be violated by the Trump administration. This is no different than what federal agents did in December of 1941 at the homes of many of our families, when Issei educators and business leaders, religious and community leaders were torn from their families and sent thousands of miles away to prisons in Bismarck, North Dakota, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, or Lordsburg, New Mexico. This law, McCarran-Walter, is so dangerous and so repressive that even President Truman at the time recognized it, and he vetoed it. But it was still passed into law because of Cold War and xenophobic hysteria. We have to take into account the entire history of our nation. We have to confront 400 years of white supremacy and colonialism. And this is why the Manzanar Committee supports reparations for the Black community. We support land and treaty rights for all indigenous peoples. And we demand the passage of just, humane immigration laws. But today there's an added sense of urgency, a sense that we could lose our very democracy when the Trump administration continues to dehumanize immigrants, erase the trans community, and uses the Alien Enemies Act to terrorize immigrant communities. We must act. It is time for us to demand the repeal of all of these repressive laws, demand the release of all unjustly detained and incarcerated people. We will not stand by while our basic rights are tossed aside by racists and xenophobes under the guise of national security. We have returned for 56 years to this site to honor our families. But today, in addition to honoring all those who endured life behind barbed wire, we are here to say never again is now. No more Manzanars. Thank you very much.